Hey there, my name's Aaron Craig, and I am a creator and an educator when it comes to making games and quite a few other endeavors. But right now, what I want to do is take you on a journey to make a first game. And I want to do this with the idea that you've got no experience programming, no experience coding, you don't need to know math, and also the idea that you really have no experience using any kind of software like the engine we're going to be using. So what I mean by this is I'm going to take you from the very beginning, and I'm not going to skip anything. I'm going to try to cover all the mistakes that you might run into. I'm going to cover things that other people and sometimes even myself might think are basic, but you might struggle with. And that's okay because you just don't have the experience yet. So if that sounds good to you, then join me. It's going to be a great experience, and you're going to learn how to make your own games along the way. If you've already used game engines before, if you've done a little bit of coding, if you're kind of tech savvy, check out my other tutorials. There's going to be a much faster paced, and you'll be able to pick up those probably a lot easier and not get bogged down in the details like we're going to be doing here. So if you're brand new to coding, gaming, and maybe you're not super tech literate, this is a great place to start. So with that being said, what we're going to be doing is getting GameMaker Studio, our engine, up and running. So what I've got open is a web browser. I've got Firefox open. You can use Google Chrome, Internet Explorer, although that's kind of dead at this point, Microsoft Edge, or Safari. Find one of those, open it up, and we're going to go to google.com. That's the search engine we're going to use here. So all I'm going to look for is GameMaker Studio 2. And you'll see that it pops up with some autocomplete options here. So I'm going to click on this, and it's going to take us right to the results. The first one we want, and if you don't see any ads, the first one you want is this one, yoyogames.com. If you see an ad, then just scroll down a little bit until you find yoyogames.com, and then you'll be good. So I'm going to click on this. It'll take us to their website. Yo-Yo Games is the publisher of GameMaker Studio. GameMaker Studio is a free to use, for the most part, game engine that allows you to make beautiful 2D games quickly, easily, and share them with your friends. So the reason we're going to be using GameMaker Studio is because I find 2D to be significantly easier to get into than 3D. When I first started game developing myself, I was in some 3D engines, and something like Unreal or Unity, they're really large pieces of software. They can do so much. They've got full animators in there. Some of them, like Blender, depending on what you're doing, might even have a full video editor and modeling and rigging, and so on and so forth. And don't worry about those terms, they're not important. But what I'm trying to get across is some of the really big names that you've maybe heard of before for game engines just offer so many features that you can get lost before you even get started making a game. So something like GameMaker I find to be fantastic. It's no frills, no fuss, gets you right into making games. And it's a great game engine. Just because it's 2D doesn't mean you can't make some awesome stuff. If you haven't heard of GameMaker before, odds are you've probably seen some of their games. If we click on Showcase up here, we can actually come in and we can look at some of these games. You can look at the video showcase, or we can scroll down a little bit and see some of their highly rated games that they've got on here. Some of them might be coming out, some of them are out, some of them have been out for a while. But if we look at some of these and we click on Load More, we can keep scrolling down. Now, there have been a few really big hits made with GameMaker, something like Hyper Light Drifter. We've got Forager, Crashlands. We have Rivals of Ether, which is a awesome 2D brawler, kind of like Smash Brothers, one of my favorite games. Minute. We keep going, and there's going to be even more and more games because this is such an accessible engine that so many people make it, create their games, and then they can put them on the market for free or to sell. So just because we're not paying anything for it, and just because it's 2D, does not mean that it's for kids, it's too simple, that you can't create the game that you want. Now, we're going to be starting really, really simple, and we're not going to jump into making the next MMO or the next Skyrim or something like that. That can be something that you aim for down the line, which is a great goal to have. But if you don't have the basics, you're not going to know how to do any of that stuff. Hey, I hope you're enjoying the Absolute Beginner's Guide to Game Development, and I wanted to let you know that I've got even more content available on my website, letslearnthistogether.com. And right now, for Black Friday 2021, I'm hosting a sale of up to 30% off of all my content. You just use the code BF2021 or click the links in the video description to get that. And for the first time ever, if you want a physical copy of my book, you can get that for free if you purchase the complete bundle on sale using the code BF2021. Go that extra step in your game developer journey and make it happen. So let's go ahead and jump back into learning. On this page, we're going to go to Get Started in the top right corner. And then we want to click on the free version. Now, GameMaker has recently changed to a subscription model, and it might change in the future, so this part of the video could be outdated depending on when you're watching it. But for the most part, they've always had a free version, or at least a pretty lengthy trial version, available to use. So we're going to click on Start Now, it's free. And we're going to be able to do everything in this free version. The subscription and the paid versions allow you to export your game, which means that you can bundle it up, package it up, and actually ship it off, not physically, but like send it off to Steam or Xbox or PlayStation, and then you can put it on their sites and servers, and people can buy it, download it, and play it. The free version allows us to do everything except that. And that's fine. We don't need to be doing that yet because we're just starting out with the very basics. So once we get to this screen, we need to make an account. So if you don't have an account, which I assume you don't, we're going to need to register. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to open up a new tab, and I'm just going to search for temp email. Temporary email there's a lot of different websites for it, but it's just a way for me to get an email address that is going to be disposed of and gotten rid of later, because I've already got accounts on all of my email addresses, and I want to walk you through the account setup process. So this is my email account. It's now copied. I'm going to come back over, and I am going to paste this right inside of here. And now I'm going to give it a password. Put one in here. You should use one that's kind of strong. Mine isn't strong enough. So if you see this, it's not a good enough password. It has to be between 8 and 64 characters, has to have one uppercase, one lowercase, one digit, and one special character. So I'm going to try again. Okay, now we have to do it again because we're registering. We got to verify we typed the password in correctly. If you want, you might be able to have your browser suggest a password and save it. This is great, except that we are going to need to log into GameMaker Studio once we download it. And if you use a suggested password, you need to know how to find that, because it's going to be a real pain trying to remember it, almost impossible, or trying to type it out from somewhere else. So I'll show you how to access passwords on Firefox and Google Chrome as we go, just because it's something that we have to do. And then we need to check the boxes. The first one says you're 13 years old. If you're not, go in and get a parent or guardian permission. Yo-Yo's not really collecting anything on you. It's part of their policy and part of where it is in the country. You just have to have permission. You have to say you have permission. So check the first box and check the second one that you've read and agreed to the agreement, privacy policy, and cookie policy. No one really reads these, but if you want to, go ahead. I'm going to click sign up, and I'm going to click save, because if I used a suggested password and I don't save it, I'm never going to be able to find it again. Okay, so now it is sending us an activation email. And if I jump over to my temporary email, here it is. So whatever email you put in, bring it up, and then find this email from GameMaker. And it's going to look kind of like this, probably with some images and prettier. This one, it doesn't look great. I can't make it look like probably how you're seeing it. But what you're looking for is this first one. So it's saying we need to activate our account. So we need to click on this link or copy it into our web browser. I can just click on it, and it's going to take me to here. and now it is activating my account. Without an account, you can't even get into GameMaker Studio, and it's like this for almost every game engine out there now. So this is kind of something you've just got to do, and you've probably signed up for websites before, so it's not a huge deal. I hope it isn't. If not, well, I'm walking you through it. So first off, news preferences. I don't want to get any. This email is going to be destroyed in just a few minutes anyway, so it doesn't matter too much. But if you don't want to get email, click unsubscribe. If you want to hear something specific, you can check that box and they will send you emails on a frequent basis. Click save and continue. Now we need a security question. So a security question is something for you to get into your account. I'm going to go with my favorite TV show, which is Avatar: The Last Airbender. And then we have to put in that password one more time. I know what mine is, so I'm going to type it in. If you don't know what it is, I'm going to show you how to find it, and this will be useful later once we're logging into GameMaker as well. So if we go to the menu in Firefox, I'll show you Google Chrome in just a second. If you're on Safari or Edge, it's going to be something very similar to this. We go to passwords, which is right here. And then I can search for GameMaker Studio. Now, nothing is there. And then I can search for Yo-Yo Games. So it's going to be account.yoyogames.com. And I'm looking for the email I just did, which is this one. And this is my account. I can see it, which I'm not going to do. And then I can copy it. So if I copy it, I can come in here and I can paste it, and we've also got it for later. So that's how you access passwords there. And then we bring it over here, and if you're using Google Chrome, which you probably are because it's the most widely used browser in the world, we can click on these little dots, go to settings, and I can just search up here, password, and then the first thing that pops up is passwords. Now, I don't have any saved passwords here, but if I did, I could do the same thing, search for Yo-Yo Games. It would pop up, you can see it, you can copy it, and you'd be good to go. Once you've done that, you can choose whether you want to use two-step authentication. That means, do you want to receive a message through text or email every time you try to log into your account? This is great if you're going to use this account on a regular basis. You really plan on becoming a game developer and using this to its fullest extent. You want to protect that account. Two-step means you have to know the password and you have to have something else. It's a great security measure, but for me, I don't want to do that. So I'm going to click save and continue. And there we go. So it's asking if I want to save my username, which is not that. So I'm going to say I don't want to save that. Then we can give it a username. So I'm going to say I'm a new GameMaker 19021 because otherwise it'll probably be taken. If you try to put in a username here that's simple, odds are, well, it might be taken. It might not. I guess I can use Bob too. If it's taken, you just got to find another one. I think it suggests some to you, but otherwise, fill in your first name, last name, and choose your skill level. After you complete your, oh, there it is. Now it tells me the username is taken. So I'm going to say new GameMaker with just some numbers at the end. I'm going to click complete profile, and then we need to actually download the game engine itself. So I'm going to click on download GameMaker, and it's going to open up a new window. Now, if you're on Windows, then you want to click the Windows IDE. If you're on a Mac, click on the Mac IDE. You'll be able to follow along with either one. I am on a Windows machine, but they have done really good at making both versions of them pretty much the same. They function the same, they do the same. They might have different bugs, so it's possible that if you're on Mac and you're following along, you could encounter a bug, but if you do, let me know as we're going through this series, and I will make sure to put out a fix for that. So, GameMaker's great at fixing bugs. These two are really great pieces of software. What we're going to be using is the Windows IDE for me. So I'm going to click on download and then save file. So in Firefox, I have a little tab, a little button up here. It's showing me the process of my download. I'm going to go ahead and wait for it to finish. If you're on Chrome, it might appear in the bottom down here. If you're on Edge, it might ask you to download it. just depends on what you're using. But once you've downloaded the file, we're going to click on it and we're going to install it. Now, I've already got GameMaker installed, but I think I might have an older version. I don't know. Either way, we're going to go through this installer together. So the screen went blank there because it was asking a security question. You have to say yes to give it permission to install. Once you say yes, it's going to load up the installer. So here we go. It says it's already installed. I'm going to go ahead and remove mine. This step you will not need to do. I'll just go ahead and uninstall it right here just to show you that it's pretty easy to get installed. Once that's done, it's going to bring up the installer, which is what you should be seeing, hopefully in just 1 second. Sometimes I might need to do it myself, or it might be down here. Okay, here it is. Here's the installer. We need to click I agree first. Then we need to make sure we've got everything selected here and click next. And then I'm going to click install. If you want to change where it's installed at, you can, but I would just leave it where it is. Once you click install, it's going to go through this process. Now, if you have a relatively fresh or new computer and you're trying to do this, if they haven't fixed it, I'm not totally sure. I know that as of just a little bit ago, like a couple weeks, if you tried to install the version of GameMaker from GameMaker Studio, it would crash. Now, if you're following a couple weeks after or later than that, you're probably not going to have the issue. But if you get through the entire installer and you click finish and tell it to run, and then it tries to load up and then it just crashes, saying that there are some specific runtime libraries missing, I'm going to show you what to do for that in just a second as well. But once you install that, it's going to pop up, and here we go. This is GameMaker Studio. Now, I'm already logged in, but let's see if I can go here and I can log out. So then my IDE, which stands for Integrated Developer Environment. GameMaker Studio is an IDE. Now it's going to ask me to log in. So I'm going to use the... Ooh. Do I still have that email up? Yeah, I do. Okay, good. So you need your email or your username. So I'm going to copy that email again. I'm going to put it in here. I'll type my password in. If you're on your computer, do remember me. If you're on a shared device, don't, because then other people will be able to do it. And I'm going to click log in. If you did not register or activate your account, you're not going to be able to do this. So make sure you've done that step. And here we go. I have a first time use opening up GameMaker Studio right here. Now, that's all we're going to cover for right now. So if you are here and if it's working, jump on to the next video. We're going to get started. But if you ran into a problem installing and you're missing those dependencies, let me show you what to do really quick. So I'm going to open my browser back up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to search for GameMaker Studio 2 older versions. And you can use Google or whatever search engine you want. But what we're looking for is a link from GameMaker-studio.en.uptodown.com. So it might be the first one, it might be the second or third one, but that's the URL that you're looking for. So we're going to click on that. And what this has is older versions of GameMaker. These older versions, for the most part, you don't need. The only time I've ever had to do this is right now, because the installer that they include with GameMaker, at least as of a few weeks ago, just does not bring in what you need. So I'm going to click on this one, 2.3.4 build 583, because I know this one works. And then you click on download. Now, here's the other thing you got to do. So save this file, and then you're going to run it just like you did the other one. But you're going to have one more thing you have to do, because when the other installer installed, it tried to install some dependencies, but it put in the wrong ones. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go into my remove programs. Now this might only be on Windows. If it's on Macs, if it's on your Mac and it's not working, then you got to find a way to come into what you have installed. I'm not totally sure. I think it's in your system. And what we're going to do is search for Visual, and then we're going to look for Visual Studio stuff. Now, I have some other software on here that's using this, but if you just installed GameMaker and it's not working, come in here, click on these, and press uninstall, and go through and uninstall all of these Visual Studio redistributables. It's only one or two that you need for GameMaker to work, but if you have the wrong version of it, it will not install the correct version. And I'm not entirely sure which one of these specifically it is or which one of these are for my other development projects. So you should only have 2 or 3. Uninstall them, then exit out, and then that version that we just downloaded, 2.3.4 build 583 that we got from this website, install that, and you should be good to go. It'll come up with a pop-up that asks you, do you want to install these additional dependencies? Say yes, install. It'll take a few minutes, and then you'll be able to run GameMaker just fine. If you're still having issues, let me know in the comments, find me on Twitter, or if you think it's something on GameMaker's part, you can go in and report it to GameMaker. So if we wanted to go to Yo-Yo Games report problem or report bug, you can submit a report and GameMaker will get back to you. So GameMaker is really, really good at fixing their problems. So if you want to submit a request, you can come right up here to submit one, tell them what's going on. They'll get back to you really quickly. You'll probably need to attach some files that they need to have to be able to actually figure out what's crashing it. And then from there, they'll hopefully help you out and you'll be able to get GameMaker up and running. If you have another computer, you can try it from there. But hopefully you won't have to deal with any of this. And if you do, I apologize. GameMaker is a great piece of software, and I've never had this issue before. This is something that is new and is only in this one version. So hopefully you don't even have to deal with this and you're just watching it because you love hearing me talk. But that's everything we need to do for right now. So we have GameMaker installed, and we are ready to actually jump into the software and start playing around with it. I'm going to show you how it works, and we're going to start working on making a very simple first game. I'll see you in the next video, and as I like to say, keep making, keep learning, and I'll talk to you later.